Hello, everybody. We're back for a little UFC. Had last week off. Actually, there's been a couple weeks off lately. Had to get back into the groove here. This fight is going to be it's the Ulberg versus Reyes Fight Night card down in Australia. Starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the States on Saturday. Um, there's some decent fights. It's not a stacked card. It's not stacked with your common household names. There's a lot of fighters making their UFC debut. Couple fighters that might be on their way out the door if they don't win, things like that. So but we've got a lot of banging cards coming up after this. Like for instance, next week is the Marab fight. And then we've got the Alex Pereira fight coming up also. So anyways, let's get into this card. And our first fight of the night is Lubume versus Thayanara. Thayanara is a young prospect. She looks pretty strong. She looks very powerful, very strong, really pretty good on her feet. Has gotten a lot better on the mat also. So I like for her to be better everywhere, wherever this fight goes. Now, I did not play this fight, but I do like her as a parlay piece a lot. And I do like the minus 3.5 on the point spread for her at a minus 105. I haven't played it. I'm just trying to keep my stuff at a certain amount so that I probably won't play it. But I definitely like it a lot. So that's what we got on that one. Our second fight of the night, Perisic versus Ellison. I don't know. I don't know too much about either one of these. They're both making their UFC debut. They both bring a lot of power. It's going to be on the feet. It's not expected to go very long at all. I would lean Perisic, but I'm going to stay away. The only thing I'm using on this fight at all is fight to end by KO, but the odds are not very good. Just forewarning you, they're like a minus 400 for it to end by KO, and that's actually on FanDuel. On DraftKings, it's like a minus 700. If you ever look for to end by knockout prop for either fighter, I would always start at FanDuel. They always have slightly better odds. So that's pretty much all I got for that one. Now, something that could be tricky is maybe a first round KO by either fighter. Like if you could get it even money, it might be worth a stab, especially considering the over 1.5 rounds is a plus 175. So you're probably not going to get a first round knockout for even money, but if you can, I would grab it as fast as I could. Then our next fight, we got Carolina versus Montague. Sorry, I was just trying to look at a college football game that I'm keeping an eye on the score here. But anyways, so on this fight here, I think on the feet, this is going to be pretty even. But if it goes to the mat, it's all day going to be, sorry, trying to get something to work on my phone and it's not. I don't know why. Sorry about that. But anyways, on the feet, Carolina is not a bad striker, but Montague should be like 10 times stronger. She used to wrestle. She used to fight at, I believe, 135 in the PFL, and she had to move down. So she should come into this fight way bigger. She should be able to wrestle, manhandle her, and get an easy victory. And possibly even a submission. She has a lot of wins by submission, so I do lean that way, but it's her UFC debut, so it's going to be a stay away for me. Then our next fight is Thickness versus Musasa. I like this one a lot, but I like Thickness. He's going to try and grapple. Musasa's going to try and keep this on the feet. If he does, he is live for a knockout. I will warn you there. He's definitely live for a knockout. But I like Thickness to get his wrestling going, and I'm just hoping that his stamina holds up for 3 rounds. It should. He has had a couple issues in the past, but I'm hoping that he's fixed those and has gotten past that. I like him as a slight dog, plus 120, plus 130. I also don't hate him on the money line, or on the decision prop at a plus 300. But what I played is the over 2.5 rounds at a minus 108. I missed a really good number. It was a plus 105 for a few minutes this morning. This minus 108 is on FanDuel right now. I would grab it now. It's like a minus 115 on DraftKings now. And then next fight, we've got Malarkey versus Bedoya. This is a tough one to figure out. Malarkey has been knocked out like 4 times recently, so he scares me. He is the better all-around fighter, though. So if he avoids getting knocked out, then I like him to win. I just don't know if he can. So I'm going to lean Bedoya, finding the knockout shot, even though Bedoya doesn't come in with a lot of power, but he does come in as a high-volume striker. So I'm going to lean Bedoya, but this is definitely a stay away. There's just too many unknowns in this fight for me to lay any money on it. But I will lean with the underdog on Bedoya. And then our next fight, we got Petrosky versus Roston. Basically, it's grappler versus striker. If it stays on the feet, this is another fight where Roston is live for the knockout. I'm expecting Petrosky to go to wrestling a lot quicker, and he's probably going to be more of the lay and pray type. So it's not going to be very entertaining. He's going to try and conserve his energy when he has him on the ground or on the mat. And but I like Petrosky to grapple in this fight and possibly get a upset victory. But I do like the over 1.5 as a parlay piece also. So I am leaning Petrosky on that one. And then we've got Sterling versus Bellato. Sterling's a good young fighter. He can wrestle, but I expect him to keep this on the feet. I expect him to have a big advantage on the feet and on the mat. But on the feet, he's just a way better striker, and I like him to actually find a knockout in this fight at some point. And then we've got Nolan versus Campbell. This is going to be a close, fun fight, especially on the feet. I do give Nolan the advantage if he does wrestle. This is like what I would call a true 50-50 fight. I'm going to take Nolan by inside the distance. I'm going to actually lean towards him possibly finding a submission at some point. But once again, it's a stay away for me. I don't have any money on this one. It's just one I'm just going to sit back and enjoy and just see what happens. And then, oh, wow, I did that 3 times. Next, we've got Matthews versus Magny. Matthews is the better striker slightly. He's probably going to be slightly the better wrestler. I just don't like the odds. I don't feel like he should be a minus 400 versus Neil Magny. I think Neil Magny's tough. Neil Magny does have a pathway to win this fight. I do like Matthews to get the win, but what I like more is the over. I like the over 2.5 a little bit more. Once again, I did not wager it. I do have it. I do have over 1.5 in a parlay piece though. Um, Unfortunately, on that parlay, one of the fights got canceled, so I'm not going to be giving that parlay out. But I'm stuck with it. I'm stuck with it at a minus 170 now with my leg that was voided. So I'm not going to be giving that one out though. And then next fight we've got another newbie. Newbie versus somebody I don't trust at all. We got Tafa versus Sutherland. And this is the crappier Tafa. This is the Tafa. Well, neither one of them can really grapple, but this guy can't grapple. His takedown defense is horrible. But do we really know a lot about Sutherland? No. Do we know whether or not he can grapple? Not really. But it would be his smartest avenue. Some food for thought is Tafa has never won a UFC fight that has gone past the 2-minute mark of the first round. So if it gets past a half a round and Tafa's winning, but Sutherland's having a little success also, you might want to consider a sprinkle on Sutherland. If it gets into the second round, and if he tries to wrestle and has the cardio to do it, I'm thinking he's going to be the more athletic fighter here. I'm going to lean Sutherland just because he brings the wrestling edge, but I don't hate a Tafa first round at a plus 300 and then arbitrage it with like second round Sutherland or even over 1.5 rounds / Sutherland. I don't hate that either. So I'm like, if you just want to have a little fun for a couple bucks, those are a couple plays I don't hate. I don't know if I'm going to get to them, but I definitely don't hate them. And I do have this fight. I'll pull it back up again. I do have this fight as a parlay piece on to end by a knockout. Those odds are actually pretty good at a minus 195. And then we've got Jenkins versus Tavares. Jenkins versus Tavares. The striking, Jenkins striking should be a little bit better than Tavares, but Tavares striking is not that bad. But where Jenkins is really going to be a lot better is his kicks. His kickboxing and his wrestling are going to be way better than Tavares. I could see him getting a knockout by leg kicks. Not early. It may take like the second, third round, but I could see that accumulating over time in this fight. I like Jenkins a lot. I like him as a parlay piece. I do lean him by decision, but I don't hate the fact of a late stoppage either. Like if you could find either third round finish or decision, that's a pretty good look, I think. And then one of my favorite ones of the card is Jimmy Crute versus Urslan. I think Urslan's going to lose, which is going to put him at 0-3 in the UFC, and he could be possibly on his way out. I think Jimmy Crute is going to be just as good on the feet as Urslan. Now, Urslan could get a knockout if it stays on the feet, but I like Jimmy Crute to wrestle, and eventually probably I'm going to lean submission, but I've got a couple ways that I'm playing this. There's two different ways that you can play it. If you have DraftKings, you can play the -7.5 at a -120. That basically means he either has to finish him or basically win all 3 rounds. And that covers that. Or you can play inside the distance at a -110, which obviously, if that happens, the -7.5 clears. So those are the ways that I'm looking at it. I have used him on the money line in a parlay piece. Like, I'll tell you a parlay that I really like, and that is Jimmy Crute on the money line combined with the Ulberg Reyes fight ending by knockout. It's like even money. It's a -101 on FanDuel. I like that a lot. And then our last fight, we got Ulberg versus Reyes. I think this is going to be a good fight. It's definitely going to stay on the feet all 5 rounds or ever how long it lasts. Now, I do lean for it to go a little bit longer. So if you want to play start the 3rd round at a minus, I think it's a -110. I don't hate that at all. I'm going to be on both sides of the significant strikes. I just feel like I do like Reyes to get the win, but Ulberg is probably going to be the better technical striker and a little bit more higher volume. So therefore, I'm going with Ulberg significant strikes, and here's how I played it. I played him 50 plus strikes over 1.5 rounds, -110. The reason why I played it this way is I don't see him getting 50 plus strikes in the 1st round. I see it taking a round and a half to get there. So if it doesn't go a round and a half, he's not going to get there, in my opinion. Now, you can play over 50. I think it's 50.5 or 51.5 at a -115. I went this route instead, you know, just in case if for some reason it goes 2 rounds and he falls right on 50. I would hate to have the over 51.5, you know. But that's the way that I went with it. I do like Reyes strikes also. They're at 44.5. I like them both. I don't hate laddering them either. So that's what I got on that. And I do lean Reyes as the dog at a +200. I think the odds are a little too wide. So I do like him as a underdog. And now I'm going to pull up I'm going to go to the big board though. Pull up, these are my parlays that I played. So on my parlays, I've got a significant strike parlay that I played. I've got Ulberg for 30, Reyes for 30, Jack Jenkins for 30, and then I threw in Matthews for 20 plus 123. If you want to take Matthews out, it's still like a -109. Not bad. I mean, I played it at the +123. But if you want to take one of them out and only have 3 legs to worry about, I don't hate that either. Then my next parlay is a 3-leg parlay, all 3 fights to end by knockout. It does not matter who wins. They just have to end by knockout. Parachis versus Ellison, Tafa Sutherland, Ulberg Reyes, all end by knockout +155. Excuse me. If it comes down to the last leg, you can hedge that for a fight to go the distance at +300 because I don't see anybody getting a submission in that fight. It would be very uncommon for a submission to happen. And then my third parlay is 3 fights to start round 2. Ralston versus Petrosky, Matthews versus Magny, Ulberg versus Reyes, all to start round 2 at a plus 108. I had to add this one because of my one parlay being removed. So I gotta figure out how to make this small again. There we go. And then I'm gonna pull up. These are my singles that I have, which I went over all of these already anyways, but I just want to pull them up again. And that's the Jimmy Crute inside the distance or minus 7.5 at a minus 120. Carlos Ulberg over 50.5 significant strikes. But like I said, I played at 50 plus / over 1.5 rounds, minus 110. Doesn't matter which way you play it. It's pretty similar either way. And then thickness, Musasa over 2.5 rounds at a minus 108. Those are my plays for UFC Fight Night Ulberg versus Reyes. Sorry, I was preoccupied a little bit during this video, but I hope that you all enjoy this video. Maybe cash some wagers together. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. Also, keep an eye out this next week on my Twitter. I'm going to be linking up with a company called CloudBet. It'll be my first time getting an opportunity like this. So if you know anybody that, bets on sports, follows sports, UFC, whatever, because I'm going to have to make I'm going to have to make picks on other sports too for this company. I will be posting wagers on Twitter through their platform, I believe. I'll find out this Sunday exactly how it's going to go, starting on Monday the 29th through the 3rd of October. So look out for that and send people my way if at all possible. I appreciate all the support from everybody, and I hope everybody has a great weekend.